Okay, so I recently put out a video where I just bought this FTDX-1010D. I gave you a bit of an overview, and someone posted in the comments that they wanted to see a more in-depth video of how to set up the Yaesus to work with the FT8 running WSJT-X, grid tracker and Log4OM. Now, I don't use Log4OM. I used to. I kind of fallen out of love with it, to be honest. I use Station Master. But to give you a quick overview of my setup, how it all works, I've got two separate computers. I found my main computer was kind of bogging down a bit. It wasn't quite quick enough to run it all in one go. So the way I've got this set up, my main desktop has got my Station Master logging software on this screen down here. Up on this second screen up here, I've got WSJT-X, so that's all my FT8 and logging. On this laptop over here, I'm running grid tracker, so that's all my mapping. It all talks together. So this video is going to be quite long, so I'm going to end up breaking this video down into two parts, I think. So what I'll do is I'll show you the settings on the radio first, because there's a couple of things Yaesu have helpfully done on their radios to kind of catch us out. There's a couple of gotchas on there. So we'll get the camera in closer to the front screen of the radio first. I'll go through that. Then we'll go on to the software, and I'll probably do all the software configuration in the second video. Okay, so before we connect the radio to the computer, we need to set up a couple of things on the radio. I'm using the FTDX-1010D. This will be exactly the same for the MP version. The 710 and the FTDX-10 are very, very similar. The difference being this mode button, which you're going to use in a minute, is in a different place. I think on the 10 it's the other side of the VFO knob. On the 710 it's somewhere across the top here. So Yaesu have done a couple of things just to catch us out when trying to play data mode. So you've got two VFOs. By default you're set to use the main VFO for data, which is what I do. You can change the settings to use the sub VFO for data if you want, but I'm using the main VFO, which is this one. Now by default, when you select data, this roofing filter will be set to 600 Hertz. You want 3 kilohertz, so if it's set to 600 Hertz, it'll be too narrow, it won't work properly. So that's the first thing to watch out for. Secondly, there's two ways of doing this. There's the easy way or the hard way. First off, I'm going to show you the hard way, and then you can forget what I'm about to show you, and I'll show you the easy way. So you're going to go into your function. You're going to go into radio setting, and you want mode PSK data, and scroll down, and by default you will find this rear select, this option here, will be set to the data port on the back. Now most of us are going to be using USB, so if it's set to the data port and not working when you're trying to plug in the USB, that will be why. Now you can forget that, because there's an easier way of doing this. Yaesu have included a preset mode, so if you press and hold your mode button, you will get this menu. Now I've got preset selected or highlighted in blue. By default that will be turned off. I've got that turned on at the moment, so you want to turn that on so it's highlighted blue like that. And if you want to know what that does, if you press and hold on it, it'll bring up this menu here. So you've got your cat rate in there, 38,400, which you can change to other standards like 4,800, 9,600. Not sure why you'd want to do that unless you're running a particularly old piece of software. All the modern software will run at 38,400. So I leave that as standard. You'll notice here your rear select, which we saw in the other menu, is now set to USB. So that will work. Rear port gain, if your level is a bit low coming out of your sound card in the radio into the computer, you can increase that, or if it's overdriving you can drop that back. I didn't need to change that. And on your RPTT select, now I've seen some people online saying you need to change that to DAKY. By default it's set to RTS. I've not changed it. I've left it as default and it seems to work fine for me. So I think everything else can stay as standard. So we move onto the computer next.